So, again, a very warm welcome to all of you who participate today in our webinar. Yes, I see we have the participants here also saying hello and good morning. My name is Hella Klauser. I work at the German Library Association in Berlin, in Germany. I'm also a member of MLAS and IFLA European Regional Division section, and I'm very happy and honored to be the moderator today of this webinar. And before we explain more, we jump right into our topic, a very important topic, how to internationalize the work in library associations. And we will start with a little greeting from our MLAS chair, Loida Febo. And Lena, may I ask you to please start the little videos clip.
Hello everyone, my name is Loida Garcia Fibo. I am the chair of IFLA Management of Library Associations section. This is an exciting and wonderful time. This is the third time that we are presenting a webinar series with the regional divisions. We are delighted to collaborate with the European Regional Division to present a webinar about the importance of international work for library associations. I would like to thank the chair of the European Division, Ed Trugol, our moderator today, Hella Klauser. She is member of the European Division and also MLAS, the new professional special interest group, the Women Information in Libraries special interest group, and all the moderators of the breakout rooms. Thank you, everyone. I hope you all enjoy. This year, the theme of our webinar series is Building Strong Library Associations, and it is part of our MLAS Building Strong Libraries Associations initiative. That's part of our charge to help library associations move forward. We're also working with 5 priority areas: information integrity, library advocacy, financial sustainability, membership retention, and strategic planning. And we are hoping to present webinars with the other regions of the world, so stay tuned. And now, without further ado, welcome again and enjoy.
Thank you very much, Loida, our chair, MLAS. She unfortunately cannot be with us in person this morning. And I turn over to another chair, to our chair, Ertuğrul Timen. Ertuğrul is the chair of the IFLA European Regional Division Council. And as Loida just had said, the two groups within IFLA, together with the help of both SIGs, will organize this webinar today. So, Ertuğrul, the word is yours.
Thank you, Hela. Good morning from Istanbul, Turkey. I would like to start my welcome speech by thanking the IFLA management of Library Association sections and its chair, Loida Garcia Febo, for their great collaboration. Also, I would like also thank to our distinguished speakers and Europe Regional Division Committee members and moderator for today, Hella Klauser, for their valuable contributions. I also would like to thank all the other colleagues who contributed this webinar today. The European region is a forefront of global library areas where the culture of librarianship and information services, library advocacy, freedom of expression, cooperation and collaboration are most deeply rooted. Eventually, of course, library associations operating in Europe are among the library associations with the deepest tradition worldwide. However, many threats such as global and regional economic crisis, climate crisis, war threats, rising nationalist movements, and irregular population movements naturally threaten the library area in Europe, which has an established culture. We can only survive by sharing our deep-rooted experiences and expertise in the face of the challenges we are currently facing and the undefined problems of the future that we do not have yet. While we talk about the strong library tradition in Europe, it is clear that today we have to cooperate regionally and globally more than ever. Naturally, library associations are the center of organized collaboration in the library field or all over the world. I believe that this event, which we have carried out with this approach, will be an important step in taking existing collaboration to a higher level. Now, I would also like to share the relevant part of the IFLA 2024-2029 strategy document. The document defines IFLA's founding purpose as follows. IFLA is founded on the belief that international collaboration means library associations, libraries, library and information professionals, and others can achieve more together than apart. It is this coming together that allows us to make the most of our diversity, to innovate, and to respond to the needs of the library field as a whole. In particular, IFLA and the global library field have much in common in terms of missions and values. Shared challenges and opportunities make it both possible and valuable to exchange experience, to develop standards, guidelines, and other shared reference points at the international level, all while recognizing, working with, and celebrating diversity. Libraries can best support users and wider communities in a global information environment through practical cooperation. This is facilitated by structures and tools that make collaboration simpler. Discussions and decisions at the global level not only affect libraries, but also benefit from libraries' input. Libraries must have a voice on the international level. Partnerships can be formed at the global level that deliver benefits to library associations, institutions, and their workforce everywhere. These stimulate local partnerships. There is a powerful mutual commitment and liberality within the global library field, a sense of solidarity that can be turned into outcomes through cooperation and action-oriented work at the international level. The strategy supports IFLA members to achieve this potential for the benefit of the wider community and the communities that libraries serve. Last but not least, I would like to take this opportunity to remind you that IFLA pre-nomination period will end tomorrow. And if you are interested in participating in IFLA activities, you should apply by tomorrow evening. I hope that this event will contribute to IFLA global library advocacy and collaboration activities and create opportunities for new collaborations. Thank you for your participation and wishing you a fruitful event. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ertugrul. Thank you. Yes. So we have on the agenda, we have 3 inputs we want to give you to this important topic of how to internationalize our work within our association's work. And then you, participants, get the chance also to discuss what you have heard and what your opinion about the heard and the topic is. We have 3 inputs from 3 different countries in Europe. And we will start with Lucia Werder from Germany. Lucia is the director of the Public Library in Bremen. And she is also very much involved in associations work, not only on a national level, but also on an international within IFLA. So Lucia is in our national association, a member of our management section, and she is in the IFLA section, Metropolitan Libraries, the secretary. So how does this perhaps can become a good combination, or what is why, Lucia, why are you on top of all the work as a library director? What brings you all this associations work? So, Lucia, the floor is yours, and thank you very much for joining in this morning.
Good morning from Germany, and thanks for having me. I hope you can see my presentation now. So I have the honor to share with you my personal experience in the field of international work. And I forgot to add one thing, because on the national level, I'm also active in the Bremen Library Association, which is on a state level part of the German Library Association. So therefore, I also have a connection with the German Library Association, a direct connection. Well, just jump in and have a look how does international work benefit our library and me at different levels. And on a national level, it has lots of impact also on our library, because when libraries have a strong voice and do good lobbying, that's also quite important for us on a local level. And also, for example, regarding project funding, like EU programs, where we can get, on the one hand, money, but on the other hand, also connections with colleagues from Europe and other countries. We, in the daily business, we use international standards, and of course we use the guidelines, like, for example, the public library guidelines, who were done by the public library section. And regarding other libraries in Germany, we do share innovative best practice examples from other libraries worldwide, for example, presentations or exchange of ideas. And that's also kind of a vice versa thing. So we share, and we also get input from colleagues in Germany. And regarding my team and our customers, the development of our library through innovation and best practices is very important for us, regarding, for example, activities in the area of SDGs from other libraries. What are they doing in that field? That is very inspiring for us. Also, activities regarding defending democracy, because we just start with that field, and other libraries worldwide are on a very other level, so we can learn from them how to just jump into that field. And also using, for example, the design thinking toolkit for libraries when we do participation, or start with participation with customers. And of course, for us, and for me and my colleagues, we can just have a more versatile network, and it is always very inspiring for us when we have professional visits from international colleagues with a two-way insight into current projects, and we can also get feedback on our projects, and just have a change of a perspective and expand our expertise on that field. And for me, has lots to do with motivation through new ideas and exchange, especially exchange with colleagues worldwide, because there's so many cool guys to meet outside Germany, also in Germany, but also outside Germany. And it's very important for me to discover new perspectives. And also sometimes it's just kind of a relief to exchange with colleagues when you hear that they have the same problems on some kinds, like budget cuts or stuff like that. So that really is helpful just to hear about their solutions on that way. And therefore, you can also find the international work in our strategy, because it has the main goal to recruit staff, and because it's quite important for us to say, well, we are also active on an international or national level, and you as member of our team can also get involved. It's has lots to do with motivation. Like for me, it's also the same thing with my colleagues, and for staff retention, because it is not that normal that you can also work on an international level. So therefore, the points I already mentioned, like development and expand of our expertise, are the important things. We are connected in our strategy, continuous further development, and also, therefore, it is also very important for us to not only have one person who is involved in international work, but also to have more people who are involved either in the national or in an international level in our team. In Germany, we have the great possibility to have a special structure to support international exchange and activities. And we have a consultant for international cooperation, that is Hella at the moment, who is connected, who is seated at the German Library Association and supports us as libraries in Germany and coordinates international knowledge transfer and international networking of libraries in Germany. And she also connects us, the people in Germany who are involved in international sections. She is also involved in the optimization of international professional exchange through cooperation with another institution, association, who is on the international level, that's Bibliothek and Information International. And she is responsible for the management of the Secretariat of the IFLA National Committee in Germany. And we have something special, another special thing. We have BE International, that means Library Institution International. That's also the Bibliothek and Information thing I already mentioned, where we can just apply for grants and programs for international professional exchange. And not only we from Germany, but also you from abroad, you can just apply for a grant or a program if you want to come to a professional exchange to Germany. And every 3 years, we have a changing partner country. At the moment, it's the Czech Republic, where we have also things like library in residence programs and a very, very good exchange between Germany and the partner country. If you want to learn more about, and if you want to apply, just have a look at the BE International website. And for example, one thing is also that is done, that you have, for example, the possibility to come to the German Library Congress if you're interested. We, since a few years, we also have an English track, so therefore it's not all the things in German. And next year it is in Bremen, so therefore just have a look if it fits into your calendar and come to Bremen. I would be very happy to welcome you here. Regarding the challenges of international engagement, for me, there's something I'm really forced by the additional administrative work as an officer of the MATLAB section, because for me it is something really challenging to familiarize with the IFLA rules and regulations, and I'm always struggling with that, just not to forget anything. But at the end, it's worth to do it because you get more insight into the library field or in the section work if you're active as an officer. Sometimes it's just regarding financial resources and human resources. We have lots of good ideas, but implementing best practices sometimes is not that easy as we want to do, and sometimes we, especially me, get impatient because we have so many good ideas that we saw in libraries abroad, and sometimes good ideas are not enough, and we just have to think about how we can get them over in our libraries. And also the time for exchange with my own team and colleagues from libraries to share best practices and learn from other experiences, always short. And sometimes we don't have enough time, and I would wish to have more time to do things like that. But all in all, I'm really happy to be on an international level. So that was it from me, and thanks for your attention.
Thank you very much, Lucia. This was really a very good start into our topic because it came from you personally. It is, as you said, we have lots of great ideas, always, but to bring it over to make something concrete out of it is another thing. So thank you very much for sharing your experiences. I really liked that the benefits, what you were talking about, are on these different levels, the national level for the libraries in your country, for other libraries, for your own libraries, and you also mentioned the benefits for yourself. We should not forget that it's also a lot of fun working internationally, and you mentioned this, and I really like this. I also like that you also mentioned the challenges, and because we all, are very tight in our everyday schedules, and we have to be also realistic. What can we do? What can we manage? So, and it is not always a great success, but we can also always somehow try to improve things. And the third thing which I really liked in your presentation was the mentioning the strategy. So really putting the international work down into your documents, your papers, your not only the thinking, and we should, but also really to put it down and write it down within your strategy. So I think this is also a very good input we received from you. So thank you. If there are questions coming from our participants, please write them in the chat. But for the moment, we will continue with our second input, coming from our colleague from Greece, from Iro Chompatsaki. And Iro is the Vice President of the Association of Greek Librarians and Information Scientists. So Iro is very much engaged there since 2019. And in her everyday work, she is the library director of the Library and Information Center in the University of Macedonia. So Iro, a very warm welcome also to you. Thank you for joining your input with us. And here I see your slides already. So let's go. Thanks, Iro.
Good morning, dear colleagues, and thank you very much for the invitation. It's an honor for the Greek part of librarians. Our association is a 56 years old association. Forgive me just a minute, because I can't. Okay. Which promotes the library and information science, library practice in general. We contribute to the creation and development of libraries, documentation and information center. We monitor legislation and relation to libraries, promoting a new appropriate legislative measures, and support and promote the professional interests of our members. So, having been involved in the association and the experience of many years as a part of our strategic planning, we knew that in order to be internationalized, we needed to give the motivation to our community to host the biggest conference in our field. And so we managed to host 3,500 library participants in Greece, so the Greek libraries were visible to the universe. Synergies and best practices exchanged. Libraries visits in different cities, long-term relations with potential collaborations. We have learned a lot of volunteering lessons. And we managed to attract sponsors, and the way we could do it. And some pictures for that event that gave us the opportunity. But
Iro,
then,
Iro, may I interrupt you for a moment? Could you forward your slides? We are still seeing the first slide of your presentation.
oh, sorry. Just a minute. Can I share it again? Can you see it now?
Yes, now we see the slide with the Sustainable Development Goals.
Okay, okay. Okay. So give me. I will start it from here, from some pictures of the IFLA conference. And unfortunately, the COVID arrived, so we tried to do our best, and we increased the knowledge of SDGs, preparing guidelines in Greek and some recommendations. And after COVID, we had the chance to visit another big event, a BLIDA conference, where we had the chance to exchange experiences in sustainable development again, democracy, equal access to information, e-lending, and mostly library advocacy in Europe. So that helped us a lot to develop working groups in Greece, annual conference, synergies, workshops, committees, webinars, seminars, publications. And the outcomes of our working groups is the Hellenic Economic Library Network and an event of next year's plan, the financial literacy. Another project is the Supercharged by AI in collaboration with IFLA. And the next week, we have another conference in artificial intelligence and libraries with Goethe Institute in Greece. In our annual conferences, except of having our experiences and our best practices in Greece, we had also invited people from public libraries 2030, like Ilona Kish, and quality metrics such as Martha Kirilidou, IFLA project, IFLA Association, Mrs. Barbara Schleichen from the German Library Association. So except of having the Greek experience, we had also the international experience. Also, lots of synergies have developed with Cyprus Library Association, Balkan Libraries. But last but not least, we wanted to connect libraries with book fairs. So we have collaboration with International Thessaloniki Book Fair, Limassol, and the Book Festival in Crete. A lot of committees have been developed also, and I won't say more. You can see so many committees, and we are planned and a lot of more committees. Webinars and seminars in trends in librarianship, legislation, open science, a virtual tour in libraries remotely. Library media literacy week, we have usually webinars. We have a radio broadcast also, and active Facebook. But first and foremost, we gave the Greek community the opportunity of translations and manifestos and guidelines with IFLA, EBLIDA, Liber, UNESCO, and it is a very active committee. So benefits. So we have increased the number of our participants. And our participation in and representation on IFLA, BLIDA, LIBER, and also a lot of Greek people are on the board and committees. We have developed lifelong learning, monitored legislative and other developments, organized workshops, and strengthened the networking between libraries in a national and international level. We improved communication with our members. We also spread international trends. We learned to work collectively, increased the library's impact in Greece. We activated regional departments and influenced the daily job, and learned how to respect teamwork efforts. So some lessons learned having been involved so many years. Do your SWOT analysis, which means smart, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound goals. Set a vision and put your milestones, and you will succeed in that. That's from the Greek part. It needs a lot of effort to work in our free time, let's just say. And with Lucia, I would agree with her, because we have the same experiences. We have made mistakes. It's not always successful, everything, but we do our efforts, and we say in Greece that if you don't do anything, you won't have mistake. So we prefer to do some mistakes, but to work collectively. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Iro, and I think we all agree with you. Let's do it. Let's go for a try, and what you just presented us shows us that there are many more successes than failures. So it was amazing what you were talking about, and what struck me, some of the most things which struck me most were the importance of international conferences in your countries. There are so much input and follow up in your country. You mentioned the IFLA conference WILSIG. You mentioned the conference in EBLIDA in Athens. So this is seems to be really one of good reasons to also start and continue international exchange. Probably also in combination with funding, with addressing your political decision makers, because these big events probably have another input again than our smaller library conferences, perhaps, I could imagine. And what I also want to point out again is that you're working with partners. So this seems also a very good idea and input from your side to look for partners, international partners, to bring them into your international development of library topics as well. So many more ideas from your input. Iro, thank you very much again. And again, to all participants, please write down your questions to Iro. And after the third input, we will have a look at the questions and ask for some answers from our speakers. So the third input comes, we are moving from all the way south, from Europe to all the way north. It comes from Sweden. And we are especially thankful that Sylvia Ernhagen joins us today. We know that you were very busy with another meeting this morning. So it's great, Sylvia, that you made it into our webinar. Thank you again for joining us So Sylvia is the Secretary General of the Swedish Library Association. So here again, an input from the work from one of our associations in Europe. And her background, as I understood right, Sylvia, is not library science, but more the civil society. And you worked a lot with human rights and with the right to information and intellectual freedom. So if this in any way is influencing our international work, here we are now interested to hear from you. So Sylvia, I turn over to you and say also to you, warm welcome to our webinar this morning. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I seem to have a slightly technical problem. I can't share my PowerPoint with you. Or maybe, yes, maybe I can. Hang on, I'm sorry. Yeah, here it is. Can you see it?
Now we see not really your PowerPoint, or I don't see it. De la IFLA International.
It says here that I am sharing. No, it's not.
Perhaps try it again. Or if you... try it again. Perhaps it was... I just didn't see it correctly.
We could see only your taskbar of the slides, Sylvia. Yes, there is only taskbar on the screen now.
Sorry about this.
Lena or Jelisaveta, could you help? Could you open it?
No, it's still nothing.
Sylvia, I can write you directly my email address and maybe you can send it to me.
Yes,
and then I will open it, okay?
Thank you.
Yes.
It's something with the Zoom that I haven't got installed properly, I think.
If you have it as a PDF version, it would even be better, but I have also PowerPoint.
Okay, I will try to.
So why don't we use this as a minute or the second now to have a look at the chat? I didn't have a look. If you have... Yes, there was a question already to Lucia concerning the funding.
I already answered that in the chat.
Yes,
we have
right.
Either by BE International and also by our library, indeed, by our budget. And we are thinking about an accreditation for Erasmus Plus for having more opportunity to travel around Europe and for getting more people from our team on the road.
Yes, this is also what you mentioned already, that it is for you important that not only the director is internationally engaged, but more people from the staff. And I think this is very important, even if, you know, for the newcomers, the new professionals. The earlier you get involved with international matters, the longer it stays in your mind as being an important part of our work. So I think this is also very good that you're thinking of the whole range of colleagues, of staff in the library. That's right.
Did you send me your email?
Yes, in the chat.
Oh, in the chat, sorry. And I used to be the head of communication, so this is a bit strange. So let me see, here it is. Yes, and I saved it as a PDF, so.
So to all of you, if you have questions to Eero or to Lucia, just write it in the chat. Aha, here we have.
There you go.
Okay.
Okay, so thank you. I'm sorry about that. Well, yes, as you said, my name is Sylvia Ernhagen, and I've been with the Swedish Library Association for about 1 year. But I come from both the civil society sector, but also from a national agency working on democracy and human rights and freedom of speech, with lessons learned from the Holocaust and other crimes against humanity. And I used to be the head of communications there. So in one way, my previous background sort of connects quite well with the issues that we are working on with the Library Association. But I'm not a librarian, so the context is sort of new for me. But I also have been working a lot with international development aid. I used to be the CEO of an aid organization in Sweden, working mainly in Africa. So international work and how to sort of connect the national level to the global level is very interesting for me, I think. So therefore, I was very happy also finding out that the Library Association and the community that we belong to is really global. So this sort of saying libraries are a force for change is from our vision that runs up to 2030. And I would say that right now this is more important than ever to remember that the libraries really are a driving force for change. And also in Sweden, we have a library law stating that the democratic issues in society is also something that should be in the core of the library work. So I think it's looking at the development right now, it's more important than ever to understand and to also make this mission visible for people in Sweden, not only for people who work within the library, but we also need to sort of make sure that our global context and the democratic mission we have is well known for a lot of people, so that libraries are not just looked upon as places where you can lend books, but it's also about creating a democratic society for everyone. And therefore, I think it's necessary that we reach outside the sector with what we do and the role we play in society, and also the role we have for the individuals. And the Swedish Library Association has been working internationally for many years, and perhaps mainly through IFLA, but also by being members of EBLIDA and LIBER. And we also have a very strong Nordic cooperation. And actually the first chairman of IFLA was one of its co-founders. It was a Swedish librarian called Isaac Collin, and he was also our national librarian between 1916 and 1914. So that's a strong connection to IFLA for us. Yes, you can go to the next slide. Thank you. So why should we engage then? Well, I sort of try to do this picture. It might be hard to read, but it's an attempt to sort of show how the international and global policies and manifestos trickles down to what we say in social medias when we do communications. So as I mentioned before, this is partly a way of getting more skills about the world, to be connected to the global community, but also it's a way, I would say, to get more power into your local work. So IFLA, for example, they're working on several issues at the UN, and they also do Agenda 30 work and so on. And this is also on the table for the local small libraries in all the municipalities. So if we can use international UN documents to strengthen the work we do in the communities, that is a good way of sort of connect the international and the local work, I would say. Yeah. And you can take me to the next picture. So this is, I will explain how we are organized at the Swedish Library Association, how we organize our work. You can say that we work with two different pillars, and this one is about opinion work and advocacy work. So this is where we sort of try to find what are the issues we should work on at a policy level, and that includes issues on the global level, on the national level, and on the local level. And we do this by a strong press work. We are very proactive. We write opinion pieces and we call up journalists and ask them to cover things we do and so on. We are very active in social media, and we work very intense right now with the new communication strategy. And we try to bind together the advocacy work and the communications about what is happening in the library field and what are people actually doing at their own library. So we sort of use examples from real life to make politics and policy out of. And in this pillar, also the international work is very, very important, as I said before, because you can use all the documents and from that has been agreed upon on EU level or in the UN, for example, and that will make everything very, very much more strong. Yes, so that was the first pillar, and you can change, yes. So this pillar is about memberships and our members, and we call it Unite, Engage and Develop. And here we have, I think, 25 expertise networks with our members organizing into special networks around special issues they are interested in. And we have an international network with members discussing what's happening in IFLA and EBLIDA and LIBER and so on, but also they're, of course, doing a lot of listening out in the world, what's happening in our sector, and what's happening in the USA, for example, with the banned books, and is that a phenomenon that will come to Sweden, and how can we tackle that? So it's sort of, they are, I lost the word, but they are listening into media and trying to get an understanding of how does the global situation has an impact on the local situation in Sweden. And we also try to engage our members in the international work within the three organizations, IFLA, LIBER, and EBLIDA. So you can go to the next slide. Yes, so our ambition for members is to make it possible for the members to be able to get involved in the various associations in different ways. And we do this, for example, by having travel grounds for meetings and conferences, but also by proposing members to different roles within IFLA. So this is not something that we at the office do alone, but we really want to have this member engagement in the global context, because we see that that is very good for developing the things they do on a local level. And in order to be involved both in public library issues and issues that are more specific to higher education and research, we also have discussed the last year how we can be more broad, because we have had a lot of engagement in IFLA, and we will work out a new strategy for how to work internationally. And just to clarify our commitment in the different organizations. But as I said, and as you can see here, we are engaged in IFLA, and we try to be more engaged in EBLIDA for cooperation on EU policies. and also in LIBER for cooperation on higher education libraries in the EU or in Europe. So that's something that we will see more of our presence in the two last organizations here. And then also we have special projects or cooperations, for example, with the organization IBI working with Ukraine, and also we have had 2 projects in Kenya that are finished now, but that was before my time. But I think that was a very good example of how library association can learn from each other. And you can go to the next slide, and that is about the manifestos. And I just want to mention that the Swedish Library Association, we have been very active in the work of translating UNESCO and IFLA's library manifestos, and we have published everything in a little booklet. And now that there are coming new manifestos, we need to update everything, and it will be in Swedish also on our website. And we continue to work with them, and we talk about them, and we have them with us when we meet politicians. And also we try to spread it in the organization to strengthen the work they're doing on the local level. And I also think actually we could do much more with the manifestos. For example, show our members that we can use them in the advocacy work. We can sort of draw out a few things and use them in our yearly work plans, for example. So we'll see what will happen with that and what we can do for our members around the manifestos. But in the meanwhile, we will use them when we talk to politicians and policymakers around library issues. Yeah, and the next slide. Yeah, so what do we sort of offer our members? As I mentioned before, we have scholarships for traveling to different meetings with IFLA, EBRIDA, and LIBER. And we also actually have scholarships for if a member wants to do a study visit in a different country, they can sort of apply for money to go. And we have, I think this year, it's about 20 different study visits that we have granted. We work with the nominations to IFLA, and we support in how elections and nominations are made. We do a lot of communications around this. And we have this network for internationally active people in Sweden, as I mentioned. And we also try to do a lot of communications about our international work, and that is in the social medias, where we know that both politicians, policymakers, and our members, they follow us there. So we want to have this broad connection around the global work. And other stuff as well we do. And I'm just going to show you one example of what we have done. So if you go to the next slide. Yeah, Ukraine as an example. We have an Instagram account, of course, and the Instagram account is not managed by us at the office or by the communications department. Instead, we lend it to different libraries during the year, so they have 1 week each. And we have lent it to Ukraine a couple of times to a library in Ukraine. And I think that's a good way of creating a space for the library to show how their life is now. And it's a way of creating awareness and also a connection between Sweden and Ukraine, and that we are all in sort of part of the same global community. And I also made a speech at the Ukrainian Library Association's General Assembly last year to support them, to show support for their situation. And the library associations of the Nordic countries has expressed their support for the situation in Ukraine very strongly. And as I mentioned, we also work together with IBI with the initiative A Library in a Suitcase, raising money for buying children's books when many of the libraries are shut down or simply destroyed. Yeah, so that's more a concrete example of international work that we do. And I think that was all I had, actually. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia. Wonderful. Thank you. So we moved from a very, how should we say, personal perspective from Lucia now to the really broad perspective you showed us. So thank you very much for this. Advocacy, you used the expression different times. So this was new in our little input. So important for us using the international experience, context, and so on for our own advocacy. This is, I think, a very important topic. The new strategy. So we are excited to hear more about that when it's done. You also mentioned the translations of important documents. This is also, I think, a very, how should we say, easy tool to get that what has been created already on an international level back into our own library scene. So these are just a few topics which struck me in your presentation. So thanks again. And now we have a brief look at the chat, but no, I don't see anything at the moment to question. Okay, then let's move directly to our second part of the webinar. Now it's up to you to use the input you have heard from our three speakers and discuss yourself in small groups. And I'm very thankful that Jelisaveta, Borna, and Lena will take over the three breakout rooms. And Jelisaveta, will you take over and explain very briefly what will be next? Thank you.
Of course. Thank you very much for this introduction. I'm very glad to announce that we are now going to separate our participants in three breakout rooms. And moderators of rooms are Borna and Elena from New Professionals Special Interest Group, and me. I am convener of Special Interest Group for Women Information and Libraries. And in the rooms, we are going to discuss about different aspects of internationalization of libraries. And after 15-20 minutes, we are coming back to webinar live and to present main results of our discussion. Now I'm going to share. Thank you very much. Oh, I'm back.
Hello.
Okay.
Here we are.
Hello.
Just wondering, because we started with our breakout rooms like 10 minutes later than it was planned. And that is the reason why we speak a bit more in my room. Sorry for
Yes, no problem.
Okay.
We should invite the others now to come.
All of us are here. I think 35 participants. We are live in webinar. Yeah. And maybe Borna can present the results of discussion in his room. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you very much, Elisaveta.
You're welcome.
The main topic of conversation in the break room one was financing and the problem of money, let's put it like that, the struggles of financing. We were given some very good ideas by Mr. Chimen, and he is grateful enough to write his email address in the chat, and everybody who is interested in ways of financing can contact him. So thank you very much for that, Mr. Chimen. He mentioned Erasmus Plus mobility opportunities, funding opportunity, European Union Digital Program, or European Union Innovation Council. We talked a bit more about internationalization of libraries and exchange programs, and we decided that they are very good and very important in promoting international conversation. Thank you very much.
You're so welcome. And Elena, please, can you tell us shortly?
Thank you. Thank you. So in Breakout Room 2, we first shared good examples about the association cooperation internationally. For example, in Germany, there are international guests at the German National Conference, and there's also the guest country who was promoted earlier in the presentation. And in Greece, they regained the international relations and now are participating in conference and committees throughout the whole IFLA panel. We had a big discussion about time management because all of the librarians have also different jobs, so it's difficult to find time for international relations. It's a very good thing to do this and to make time to cooperate internationally. And the last thing we talked about are language problems. And the participants were a little bit skeptical about online translation tools, but maybe the regional divisions can try to offer more language forms, and maybe also the translation modules can be better and better in the next coming years. So maybe there's also challenges in that.
Thank you. And I will just present shortly about results of discussion in room 3, because there were around 10 people from different parts of the world, South Africa, Chile, Thailand, Spain, Ukraine, Nepal. And it was nice to hear from them some challenges and issues that they are facing with it. And they also are wondering how IFLA can help them. And they asked me how we can help them, especially regarding internationalization and some skills in that regard. And I tell about different, of course, webinars, guidelines, and etc. And that overall support by IFLA in that regard. When we talk about their projects, there are like bilateral and multilateral projects depends on the libraries and library associations. For example, each library association that would like to present themselves in whole country and also to cooperate with different European association, also with association in Latin America. And when we talk about, for example, our colleagues from Ukraine, they cooperate with German libraries, with Lithuanian libraries, and etc. Also in Nepal, we heard that there are a lot of, problems like absence of a specific strategy in the area of internationalization and etc. It was very, very inspiring and nice to hear all of that. And thank you for this time, Borna and Lena, and now Hela, I'm giving you the floor. Thank you.
All I can add is to thank all of you, of course, our speakers, our participants, our moderators of the breakout rooms. We got the question if we could continue an exchange like this on international matters again. So we will bring this idea back into our European group, and I'm sure we will discuss it thoroughly. So we are a little ahead of time, so we will finish now. Thanks again for your participation and for the exchange. See you soon again, hopefully, here or there or on the screen. And have a nice day. Thanks again. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you.